Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joe Menza here, going to do a little watercolor painting. If you watched the beginning, you saw a little duck pond, and that's what I'm going to try to do today. So first things first, just going to wet down the paper like I usually do. Going to do my 3 coats. You'll notice the water's not as clean, and that's because I've already done another painting prior to this, and it's not going to hurt anything having this like this. I mean, unless you're using a lot of yellows or something, but it's really not a problem. So, and there's not a lot of sky in this one either. So first thing we're going to do is go to the trusty raw sienna. This is where we're going to have a little sky coming in here. I want some areas of light just for the drama of it. This will be the only area of sky. Down in here, there's going to be our duck pond. So let's just give it a little sweep. And then up in here, we're going to have some trees in through here. And that's pretty much it. It's going to be hopefully an easy one. So first things first, we're going to take a little bit of blue. And this is where our sky is going to be. I got a little bit of yellow on there, but that's all right. This is where our only real bit of sky is going to be. Let's get some blue going in there. Clean the brush and just kind of vary it a little bit. Okay, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get a little green and yellow on the brush, and we're going to start creating. We're going to have a little bit. Some tree line back in here, just all the way across. Just all the way across. Vary it up a little bit. Little blue, little yellow, little Payne's gray. Create sort of some layering. When that dries, it'll look cool. Little Payne's gray. There's our little tree line there. Before my paper dries real quick, something I forgot to do is I want to get a little blue on my brush. I'm just going to come across for the pond that's going to be here. Need to get a little bit of blue going in there. This is where our pond is going to be while this is still wet. Get a little bit of that blue and green on here. This is going to be some reflection in the water here. Just get some reflections going down in there. And then over here, let's get some yellow on the brush. Over here, there's going to be some grass that comes in and around. This is just a grassy area here. There's a little raw sienna back here, just to vary it up a little bit. Then we can start putting some browns on. Brown, little Payne's gray. This is where the shoreline is actually going to start. Little hair in there. This is our shore coming around. The edge of the pond. And you can take your card. You can draw in some nice rocks along the shoreline there. And then come back with a little darker of a brown, add in some blue or some Payne's gray, and just kind of come in underneath the rocks, and it'll kind of lift them out. If you cover too much, you can always come back with your card, add a little bit more, make the rocks back here smaller, because it's just slightly further away. It's not that huge of a pond, so it's not like that far back. But you want it to look natural, really. Okay, now back in here, there were some trees. So just put a few trees back in here. And then here, there was the big tree, if you remember. Again, brown in the brush, dipping in the water just to get the tip of the brush wet. Bring this guy up. There's a nice big tree here with some branches on it. Base of this guy in here. A little darker on this side. Vary it up a little bit. Vary it up a little bit. And then as that starts to dry a little bit, we can put some leaves on there. Take a little bit of your darker, sometimes you get a little darker on the brush and you can just add a little. Just to make that pond look a little bit more realistic. Take a little bit of blue and a little yellow. I'll just add some more grasses in here. I don't have to go real super heavy with this. It's just enough that the mind says, hey, there's grass here. Tell you what we're going to do. Little of the tree trunk colors on the brush again. Let's put another tree back in over here. Never have too many trees. Just looks a little barren back in there. Take our card, scrape her down, give it a little, do this as hard, soft as you like. You can even lift it out with a brush later, just to give it so it looks like there's a tree trunk there is what I do. A little too much water there, but that's okay. You can come back with the card and put some scratches in to look like there's grass there. You can do that in a lot of spots. You could do it on the edge of this here. Okay. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come in with our number 3 rigger brush. And we're just going to put in some branches for our trees. This is a little bit more detail type stuff. A little bit more time consuming than using the big brush, but sometimes you gotta do. Some things there's no way around. You could use the end, you could use your hake brush and just smash in some branches. If that's a look that you're going for, there's nothing wrong with it. Put in some grasses here. Yeah, it's not looking too bad. These guys here you can even put in just to, because we're going to come back with some leaves back in here. And come with our cards, put a little bit more, just to get some texture down in here. And one more off of this guy here. Okay. So instead of pulling out the hair dryer, let's just let that dry a sec. And let's throw a couple of ducks in here. Okay? Get our ducks in a row. Okay. Now, this is the only real tedious detail I can say is going to come into play when you do like little animals and things. Now, if you want to start off using raw sienna to kind of lay it in, you can. Let's put a duck here. Make sure they got a pointy beak so they look like ducks. Get a little bit of brown. Get that body shape going. Oh, we got that guy standing there. And let's put another guy back in over here. I'm purposely going a little lighter with these so that I can come back with a darker color, because if I mess up, then I can actually come in and I can improve it. If you like doing ducks, I mean, you can sit there and do them all day and become a real duck expert. Some people do. They just do wildlife, you know, and that's fine too. All right, let's put a guy out here in the water. He's swimming. You can get that neck right, you can really sell the duck. And these particular brown ducks, they have that black neck. So this guy's kind of suspicious looking. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is just put a little water on the brush, because there needs to be a little shadow. And depending on how many ripples are in the water, I mean, you can make like little lines. You can make it a solid. But don't struggle too much with it. And I'll show you a little trick to even make them a little more realistic. Get that beak and that neck a little darker. It's always hard when you show things like in the water. Okay, so while we're letting now the ducks dry out, let's go back to our trees. Let's get a little yellow on the brush, cad yellow. Dry that brush so that there's not a lot of water on it. And let's just start laying in some yellow leaves, and then adding to that with the blue and some Payne's gray. That's not too bad. A little more grass there. This here, we had a little bit of paint dripping down. Don't let that panic you. You can always come back in with a little more brown coloring. That will dry back. But you can always come back in with a little bit of brown. And there's a lot you can fix. And I'll show you real quick, just in case this kind of thing happens to you. Just kind of tap it in. Look at that, it almost looks even more realistic than before. And come back with you want to put a little bit of Might have to wait till it dries a little bit more. Just so the light is catching the tree there. Let's take our hair dryer and do a quick dry real quick, because a lot of this is still pretty wet. Yep. Baby ducks. Okay, that's enough. Let's take and dry off the paintbrush. Squeeze off the water a little bit. And grab a little paper towel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here now and I'm just going to put in a quick... I'm going to just put in a couple of quick sweeps across to give it a little bit of a... like the water's kind of moving a little bit. I'm going to make sure your brush is real flat. And along, a little along the edge here. You can also do that with a flat brush. And then another little thing that I use, I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here we go. I use this Jelly Roll white pen. And what's nice about this is you can actually take and make little water effects with it. It's like a white gouache pen. And you could just give little water effects. It's fun. It's fun to do. And then finally you can do, you know, these ducks have the little white. And you can just put a little detail into that. And you can also put a little highlight across the back. Just with a little Jelly Roll pen. You can even put a little line through the water where the duck's going to give it a little ripple. And that's it. All that's left to do. Maybe we'll throw another little, maybe some more ducks are flying on the way over. I'll put some birds up in there. You can even use this to add a little detail to the make the duck's beak a little pointier. As long as you had fun painting it, that's the most important thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be thinking about, is this going to go up in a museum? You did it, you painted it, and you had fun doing it. It was relaxing, stress relieving, hopefully stress relieving. And then lastly, we'll sign it. And that's it. We have a finished painting. I will zoom in on this shortly. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please subscribe, comment, etc., etc. Thank you. Okay, here's the finished painting. You can see there's some of the little details now that they've dried pretty well. Kind of some neat details. You can see where I use that gel pen to give those ducks a little... You can zoom in real close, but most people aren't going to get in that close, but we can get some idea of the details there. That's pretty much it. You can spend more time on this and put in even more detail, and it'll look even that much better. But, you know, in a limited time video, the idea is to do this very quickly and loosely as possible. Thanks again for watching, everybody.